Oh, welcome to the Astro Cafe, my beloveds. It looks a little different this week because we are in transition time. Yes, I have the Sky Bridge map for you and the conversations with the cosmos and the go deeper places to go into your chart. But I really wanted to talk with you in a more intimate way this week where I hope you really feel nourishment for your soul on a level that you've never felt before through our work together. And I sincerely first want to thank you for coming along on the ride for this beta test. We're transitioning into being in the hub for next week, in the higher self hub, to help all of us to be who we are here and live the life that we're here to live, that is on our higher path, so that we can experience our higher destiny as individuals and as a collective. This week is really moving for me, and as you know, I always do these unscripted, and I just channel what comes through for us. And I want you to know that all of you who have been doing this work with me, I'm really holding you in my heart as I share what I'm going to share this week, because I know that all of you coming into this space together and saying yes to yourself as I say yes to my own self and my purpose is what makes us come alive. So we have a few very, 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 very pivotal transits, right? Movement, shifts, transition, transformation, transcendence. And so I would not be surprised if you are feeling a life-changing shift in your week. Now, maybe that hit last week, maybe it'll hit in the coming week, but around this time, I know many of you drawn to this work are here for two things. And so we're gonna be talking today about a couple of specific zodiac signs. And wherever you have these in your chart, I have a feeling that you have these in a prevalent place. I'm gonna talk about a few. I'm gonna highlight a couple. But for our Astrocast, we are going to be moving into Leo season. For those of you who want to take a screenshot, if it works, you can. But you will be able to, I'll send these along, so you'll get them, okay? You'll get all the pages you might need. But we're going to be moving into Leo season, and we're moving from Cancer season. So we've been in this moment, this month-long moment of coming home to ourselves. And you've probably experienced some aha moments where you felt like, wow, you're really coming home to yourself and maybe aligning with your path, seeing blessings come through. You may have also felt moments of needing to discern what is your path, and is this for me or not, because you're really holding this desire, right, of integrity for what you're here for, and this authenticity that is in you, and this wanting to be really who you are. And you're probably noticing that you've been having people really see you. Maybe you've been feeling seen in different ways as the very evolution of your identity has been shifting. We've been in Cancer season, so it is that place to come home to ourselves, to feel all the feels, to be like the crab, right, that's in the protective shell, not to hide out, but to really honor and preserve, and to hold sacred that true essence and softness of who you are. And so depending on other placements in your chart, there might be a certain adventure around it, or maybe a fierceness around it, or maybe a powerfulness around it, service around it, right? Like we all have our own themes. Well, I really want to talk to you this week as we go from Cancer season into Leo season with a couple of frameworks. And then one of them is, you know how we've talked about our hero's journey, right? And that we're kind of all here walking ourselves home. We're all on this path of like coming home to ourselves and creating what it would feel like to have that home, or maybe that heaven even on earth. And then as we do this work, we find ourselves wanting to not stay in this loop-de-loop of stuck story that has been kind of our life, but how we lift up and kind of jump timelines, jump levels in this game of life, how we transcend by knowing what our wounds are, turning them into medicine or magic, allowing ourselves to be more wholly ourselves, more fully ourselves. And I'm talking holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, but I'm also talking about holy, H-O-L-Y. All that you hold sacred, all that you've been holding sacred, all those soul desires that you've just been feeling, all the visceral responses you've been feeling over the last month, they are begging you, beckoning you to move into this place in the Leo season where you fully shine as yourself. Your radiance is felt and seen, so that others that you're here to help along the path, they might just be a step behind you. But wherever they are and wherever you are, right, you need to shine your unique brilliance so that you can be seen. And when others see you, they're seeing themselves, right? And so really this work, when we're looking at all these archetypes of the planetary archetypes, the zodiacal archetypes, the asteroid archetypes, and all of that, we've really been doing this work of honing our frequency, right? And going from like lower conscious, we might call it ego or shadow, to like the highest consciousness, or like the enlightened or siddhi state, right? Being our higher self. And along the way, we have conversations and we talk with our higher self. We're really being asked, I believe, at this time in humanity's story of recognizing, realizing, making real its divinity. Okay, we're not just people, although some of you are just beautiful people. We're not just humans, although you are all beautiful humans. We are divinity in human form, and it's time that we act like it. I know we've been acting like it a lot, but I really want to implore you to really step into being yourself even more fully this week, and as a kind of threshold that we cross into as we go forward in the next month in Leo season, but also in the next 18 months as we go through a new destiny cycle in humanity. I'm going to talk about that next. So what we're basically doing is we're talking about taking those self-discovery tools that we've been practicing and having them help us to self-actualize, right? Self-actualization, actually being that identity that's been evolving, but that identity that, was there with you in childhood, that the childhood wonder and awe and the way you saw the world and the lens and the magic that's kind of maybe been taken away or dimmed or hidden or told to maybe hold back, those kinds of things. Well, it's really time to allow yourself to come into more of the fruition of that, so that we can be, as Carl Jung stated it, right? Our individualized self, our differentiated selves, our unique selves, so that we can serve the whole. Because when those bits and pieces of us are being who we are, and someone else recognizes themselves and their own wholeness and holiness in that, I believe that's what we're here to do. But where I want to go with us next is into a place of no self-interest, right? So the real whole point of all of this work, I see, is for us to be able to show up in a place where we aren't concerned as much about ourselves and how we're being recognized, or who is seeing us, or how we're being received, because we know ourselves so deeply. We know our gifts, we know our superpowers, we know our contributions and what we're here to share in the world. And we've been taught things like we need to have all the ducks in a row, right? We need to have a clear picture. We need to have all the pieces put together. It's all going to evolve and it's all going to change anyway. So most important is that we just start showing up. And there's a big piece that I want us to bring into this, and it's confidence. I want to implore you, really deeply invite you to be that confident self wherever you feel safe. And I want this place, this shift into our higher self hub, to be that community, to be that place where we can practice that confidence in ourselves. And when we look at that word of confidence, we see confide. It's about being the deepest ally to yourself and to spirit, to God, goddess, source, whatever, however you identify what that is, divinity, right? Trusting that it's got your back, that you can put out your prayers in a way that you feel like this is what I was born to experience. This is my birthright. And I'm not asking in a way that I don't know if I'm worthy and I don't know if that can be it, but asking from a place of what you feel like you know and is your truth, asking that to be rendered and seen, because you will be responsible and confide in it like a beloved, and you will show up. You will show up for it and be that self, right? And so this week we have one other placement that's really, really important to this timeline right now. What I see is a timeline shift, going from Cancer, that inner reflection, self-care, seeing, really seeing and holding yourself, almost like a mother, the mother archetype of Cancer, like mothering and holding yourself is so sacred. And it's time to leave that behind and now move into where you're birthed, you're rebirthed. You've gone through maybe a big awakening. You're going through the next identity. Remember, a lot of those slow-moving planets are in Aries now that want us to have a new identity and be the self we're really here to be. And we know that because Pluto in the real big picture too is about really regenerating and completely shifting the paradigm on reality. And it's in a place in Aquarius where it's got its eye, it's got its grip, it's got its revolutionary love, unconditional love on the individuals who are here to serve humanity. And within this, we also have a huge shift, which is our North Node is shifting. And our North Node is going to be in Leo and Aquarius. And that's happening, we've got Leo season starting. And then at the end of the week, you'll see that we have the nodal axis, the deepest, furthest place that the moon travels. It's been in Virgo to Pisces, devotional details going into Pisces, which is our dreams and allowing our dreams to come true. We've been there. We've been focusing on our dreams. We've been focusing on the details. We've been asking how to be devoted. We're shifting now as a humanity and going from Leo to Aquarius. How do I be that unique, shining self who's got the lead character vibe and the inner authority and the sovereignty to create life, to make life up the way you feel it's the life you're here to live? I've been doing that too. I've taken the Cancer, deeply going within myself, being almost a mother to myself, allowing like a divine mother, like a protective, space holding energy to help me go through all the different areas of my life. And in life coaching, we would call that maybe even like a life a life wheel or a wheel of life. Sometimes it's called a wellness wheel, right? I've been writing the bullet points. I've been writing the bullet points in my life. Like what is the what's the vision that I hold, and what's my identity? How do I show up in that, right? How do I make discernment in that? What's the systems or the structures or the rituals that will help this to come into fruition, right? And so however you do that, maybe how I just looked, I know that for me, I'm looking at all those categories, and when I write my bullet points of this practice of what I've just invited you to do, as I've been doing for myself, I'm checking the things that I'm saying it feels like is my life to live, so that I can be myself. Then I can feel very whole in that, and then I will have the belief, the confidence, the love of myself, the love of humanity, the deep relationship with the divine, to be able to show up and be myself and serve the world by being myself, right? And so I've created some checks with myself. I want to be checking in on my essence. Am I being the essence of who I am in all those areas? And are they being that for me? Are they being that for me? Am I confident enough to say, yeah, no, I don't feel like that's the essence of who I am. And I'm embodying. Am I embodying in all the areas of my life? Am I embodying and being who I need to be? Because that's what Leo season is asking. You know, am I being that for all of those aspects of my dream life, so that I'll be able to receive it, right? Am I expressing myself as that? Is it expressing itself to me? Do I feel devoted? Do I feel so devoted to it that with every word, every action, every thought, every belief is moving in the direction of going toward those dreams, or having them come to me? Because any of those thoughts, words, deeds, actions, beliefs that are a step away from it, I'm only not allowing it to come. I'm only blocking it from coming, right? And so, yeah, you know, it's really about walking the walk. It's really about walking that. And so I want us to really kind of have this lens as I talk about the astro of the week. We are starting in Libra, and so as we start this Monday, as you've gone through all the stuff of last month that you've been going through, what's feeling harmonious to you right now as we start the week? And let's let that harmony guide, because when we have harmony, right, when things are harmonious, they're flowing in a way that there's so much symbiosis. And that's what's here for us if we open to it and we choose it. And then we have Scorpio, another key archetype I wanted to talk about this week. Cancer, and wherever you have that in your chart, correlating to whatever I spoke about. Leo, wherever you have that in your chart and what I spoke about. And now a moment about Scorpio. Those of you who have Scorpio in your top 3, in your core 4, or you have a stellium, or it's at a really pivotal point, right? You have the capacity to go deep, to go vast, and to really transform and make magic. We have Scorpio Tuesday through Thursday. So we might be having some things that are down in the deep, and they're wanting to rise, and they're wanting to come into the light. They're really wanting to come out through your light, or through what you're shining a light out on. If you think of yourself even being like a beacon of light, like a lighthouse or something like that, like what kind of light do you feel you are? You know, maybe at like behind a stage at a festival, and they've got those lights that are shooting, right? Or like maybe like a billboard sign and it's lit up, right? Or like a laser light, or like, you know, a sunset lamp, you know, that's like on the ceiling, you know, like what kind of a light are you? What's your relationship with light? Because the light is wanting you to take those aspects from the deep and just and bring them out into light. Maybe it's a new identity with yourself. Maybe you're seeing yourself in community more as a different kind of a leader. Is it more about your presence than what you're presenting? Is it more about making the bold choices that you know are yours to live, and you're gonna shed light on those? Is it about taking the offerings that you're here to offer in the world and shed a little light on the path you've been walking on those, to see what's truly next? It's truly next. If you've been in a dark place, maybe you're putting your headlamp on and guiding yourself out. Or you've got your lantern, like the hermit card, you know, but somehow there's some kind of essence of light probably that's leading you to this place where you're really being asked to be on your higher path. And so I truly believe if there's been some challenges that have hurt your feelings, that have been feeling like a roadblock, that have felt like confusion, I believe they're divinely orchestrated, and they're here to just get you on your highest path. Maybe you've just recently kind of gone through an awakening or a dark night of the soul, and you're kind of early on this path. Maybe you've been doing this thing for decades, and you're like more toward, end of life. Maybe you've had decades and decades in, and you're thinking, what's here for me now? Then I want you to ask, and I'm just inviting, you're the authority in your life, but I'm inviting, what is still here for you to live? Shine light on what is still here for you in this moment, just this moment of living life on earth that would make life feel complete, and confide in those soul dreams and that destiny that's yours to live, and make those dreams come true, because I believe that will help you feel more holy yourself. And you'll be able to have the support that you need. You'll be able to have the pieces come. You'll be able to have your prayers answered so that you can move forward, into this next 18 months is how long we'll be in the destiny story of humanity. Leo to Aquarius, Leo to Aquarius. Main character vibes leading your choose your own adventure that is your life in the game of life with its challenges, where you show up with all your superpower tools and you're sharing being who you are right now in that story, moving toward how you serve the world by being yourself in alignment with the highest outcomes for humanity. And it's 18 months that we're moving into that story. We move into that story at the end of the week. As we move through the week, we have Sag in the next couple days, Friday and Saturday on the weekend. We're really letting our hope and our dreams stretch us past what we know. Because when we really are here to receive our dreams and have our prayers answered, it sometimes takes surrender. The surrender experiment, you've probably heard of it. Trust falling with the universe. Let go, let God, really an ultimate offering, even everything you've created, all of the resources. How willing are we to let everything go in service to what we're truly here for? And this is part of moving from self-discovery tools to self-individuation, to having no self-interest, really. Because when we get to that place, we're in a place where it's really not about us, it's about the other. So if we're feeling not included, if we're feeling, well, how do I fit here? If we're feeling like, well, what if this isn't perfect? If we're feeling like, well, I just really don't have it in the final draft that I want before I share it. Well, I feel like it's evolving and it's not quite everything's impermanent. All of those things are just really not that important. And when we attach strongly to them, we're kind of stuck in the self-actualization component of life, or pathway of life. And it's really time. It's time, I believe, humanity is asking for us to move into that place of non-self-interest. And it is really easiest to do that when we really know who we are. And so wherever you are, there's no pressure. Maybe you're just starting and dabbling in self-discovery. Great, you're gonna get what you need. And if you're going deeper and really wanting to hone the pieces of who you are so you can see that big picture of who you are and get yourself aligned to who you are, your higher self, your higher path to create a higher destiny, you're going deeper, then that's where you are. And if you are really devoted really feeling this week to devoted to destiny, I want to invite you to let go of everything you think you know, all the resources and tools that you think you know. Oh, it's quite a pivotal moment. We're not looking at the astrocast like we normally are. I'm not in front of the TV as I normally do them, right? Yeah, I want us to really invite ourselves into that space of letting go. So as we look at the transits, just kind of briefly, we have a first quarter moon and it's in Libra. So again, we were looking at harmony, right? Our intentions might be meeting resistance. Things are going to adjust here. And I want to invite us to move past our comfort zone. I want us to move into, even if there are things that feel so huge, so big that they might even invoke fear. I want to invite us to look at that feeling of fear and ask ourselves more deeply. Am I being called to discern? Is there something that is discerning and it feels like maybe fear, and I just need to say yes to the yes and no to the no's, and keep myself in a place that I'm only experiencing what I'm here to deserve and what is mine, and holding to those ideals and those standards. Sometimes I think we feel fear when we are not choosing our standards, or they are an invitation to choose our standards. And then also where we are feeling a fear, but it feels like it's the way. It feels like it is, it is our destiny. And I want us to tap in and lean into our vulnerability. It's greatest vulnerability to allow, really allow. Vulnerability with courage, vulnerability with bravery, vulnerability with conviction, knowing that we sometimes need to be really vulnerable in order to get to those powerful places in our life that are ours. And then we have Leo sextiling Uranus and Gemini. We're being asked to take that confidence that I talked about and cultivate that. And when we're in that space, this is happening at the beginning of the week, when we're in this space of allowing our confidence to guide us, we're going to see doors opening and closing. And when we really follow the spark that is that radiance, that Leo light starting to shine on us and pull us, it's like a door that opens and we see a little light and we're like, ooh, should I go in there? Should I go past that threshold? I don't know that place. It's a new place. But what if it's the place of my dreams? What if I get hurt if I go there? What if I lose something, right? We need to risk, folks. We need to risk to take the steps to move toward our dreams. And that is what that light, I believe, is calling us to in that doorway. And so it's about trusting. It's about trusting the universe. It's about trusting the divine. It's about trusting yourself, because you are going to know the answers. You're going to know what feels aligned. You're going to know what feels aligned, and you're going to know what does not. All right. And then we have Leo season starting on the 22nd on Wednesday. On Thursday, we have Mercury stationing direct in Cancer. So Cancer season is going to be behind us. But what we do get to take with us with Mercury going direct is we get to take the Cancer vibe of our direct communication, our direct mindset to living the life we're here to live, in our thoughts and our words, mostly our inner talk. Catching ourselves with any limiting beliefs, right? Being impeccable with our words. Good week for dictionary, thesaurus. The words that are like jumping out in a song or in a communication, or in a card reading that you read, or even in the astrocast. Like, let's go into those words and create those meanings. We might see things falling into place this week and into alignment if things have been funky with our tools, with our systems. the ways we've been communicating with the tools we use, or we've just needed a break. Like, I gotta unplug. Those have some things we've been feeling, and now we're gonna find some alignment moving forward. And then on Saturday we have Neptune in retrograde and Pluto in retrograde. And so what that means is our dreams and the dissolving of the vision of the dreams and letting them come into fruition. That's been in a kind of a reminiscent, reflecting, going from the past, looking at the future, going from the past, looking at the future. What did I want? Do I still want that? Some of those kinds of ideas. And then Pluto, I'm feeling a whole new paradigm. Like, I just feel like a whole new life, opening in front of me. I'm going beyond the bounds of what I thought possible, and tapping into even more possibilities, right? Those kind of ideas are in a harmonious union. And so it is time. Oh, my beautiful, the beautiful light coming in the window. It is a time to take the hopes that we have, right? And let them stretch us. Let our dreams stretch us so that we can be the new aspect of ourselves, so that we can allow some fluidity to mold us into who we're here to be, mold the reality that we're here to see. And then we're going to have, we're moving in at the end of that week to that North Node that I talked about. And so, what I really want to leave us with this week is service. And so when we're feeling like we're getting stuck on any of these things, the visions that are here, when we're looking at the next offering we're making, the facilitations we've been holding with our groups, that thing that's in our soul that feels so important that we share it with our people, the thing we want to leave behind with our legacy. Or maybe this is about, how do I figure out how I'm living that destiny, but I'm also paying the bills and, being responsible to like my living space. Like, maybe where am I going to live in this scenario? Like, how am I going to be working in this scenario? A lot of things are in flux and moving. Everything is impermanent, right? So we're holding to like what's really important in here. What's really important. So really this time of allowing things to permeate, let yourself be stretched. It's like children who make this dream vision. Oh, I'm gonna make this thing in Play-Doh. And it's like, oh my God, I'm making this thing and I've got these pieces and I'm using these tools, or maybe like a Lego set. They make this beautiful masterpiece and they're working on it. And then they get done and they're like, they just, smush it or take all the pieces and put them all back in the color dough, or they take the Lego, completely deconstruct it. But we learn throughout time this idea almost that things are permanent, or like, oh, this thing that I built, I've got to hold it in this way, and this thing, and we have value, and we have worth around these things. We have accomplishment, achievement, all these things wrapped up into our identity even. We don't want to fear loss, all this, right? So it's really this time in humanity's story that we're practicing letting go of some of those forms and allowing what's greater than the form to speak through us. I have a feeling a lot of lives are going to be looking changed. They're going to be looking different. And so if you have a big dream that's probably going to require some of your life to look different, this is a blessed week for you to get answers. And I feel that if this is in your heart and on your heart, pray your prayers. I believe this is a week of prayers being answered. And so whether it's your work, your offerings, sacred relationship coming to you, divine partnership coming to you, how it looks like where will you be living in the home space you're creating, rituals and your sadhanas or your devotionals that are rituals that are helping and serving how you're bringing your dreams into reality. all of those things. I think it's a week to dive into the tools that you've been using. If you've been feeling like, oh, I wish I was doing the going deeper more, or oh, those going deeper questions that I wanted to answer that I didn't yet, or I really been wanting to ponder my charts about this, or I really want to make that manifestation list. I really want to talk to my angels more. I really want to write a note to the universe. I really want, all whatever these things are. This is the week to do it. This is the week. I want to know as we move into the higher self hub, and I practice doing exactly what I'm telling you. I'm willing to let all of it go. The Sky Bridge map might not look like it's looked. Astro Cafe may be on YouTube for the public. It might just be inside of the higher self hub. Go deeper, the questions. Do I continue? Will I continue them? What will things look like? Will we have some moments inside of the hub where we can come forward and have 5 minutes of you sit at the seat of your soul, and we have a higher self come to your soul coaching moment where we have 5 minutes of laser coaching, and maybe we're in a group and we just all do that, show up as ourselves, get our answer. This is who I am right now. This is who I want, who I need to be that dream. And then we completely shift and change your life in 5 minutes. Or do you want cheat sheets that help you go into different places and go deeper with your self-discovery? Are you wanting more tools to know who you are, to remember who you are? This is not about having these tools dictate our life. They don't hold power over us. Any chart does not tell us who we are. Our charts do not define our destiny, right? It's a mirror of what's out there so that we can experiment. We can experiment with showing up with these practices to see, does this help me feel more aligned to who I am? Does this give me some insight and shine light on the path of the week coming up, or the month, or the year, or the decade coming up, so that I can show up in my highest, right? What are we wanting? I need to know. So please, I would invite you. It would be so sacred for me if in this exchange of beta, if you give me your wisdom about what can make this be the best it can be, if you give me your takeaways and your reflections and your feedback, and also if you would give me, what would help you the most, because I want to serve you as I'm ready to let go of everything to allow my greatest dreams to come true, so that I can allow my heaven on earth to come through. And I was recently given a gift, a special gift by someone I hold so dear, just an angel that came on my path, an answered prayer. And gosh, he really saw me, and I really appreciate it, Service is what we're here for, and if you know me and the work that I do here, it's about helping you to serve the world by being yourself. Let me know what you need. I want that feedback. I will help you to be it. I will give you the tools as my thank you this week for you showing up in this beta test as we walk this walk together of being on our highest path, being our highest selves we can, to create our highest destiny as we serve the world by being ourselves. So any moment that we're not sure how to navigate this week, choose service first. Have a servant heart. How can I serve? And that is where we will get answers, I believe. My loves.